Jetzt geht es um eine ganz klare, sehr präzise Selbstausrichtung oder auch, man kann auch sagen, Seelenausrichtung. Also falls du dich als Fackelträger empfindest oder als Lichtbringer oder auch als spirituelle Pionier, nutze diese Phase, weil es geht hier um eine Klarheit, ja, eine neue Klarheit für deinen eigenen Seelenweg. Ist so schön. Polaris zeigt den Weg deiner Seele. Also es geht, wenn du so willst, auch um die Fähigkeit, nicht nur den Weg zu finden, sondern auch andere zu führen. Also wenn du sozusagen zum Polaris wirst für die anderen, ja, zum Leitstern für die anderen. Das kann man fühlen. Nicht jeder hat diese Aufgabe, aber es gibt immer mehr Menschen unter uns, die diese Aufgabe nicht nur haben, sondern sie auch fühlen und sie auch umsetzen.
Now we have our new stepping stone, our new milestone with this Cancer solstice. It has a greater sense of destiny about it, this solstice. And that isn't something I often talk about in astrology. Rather, I go the other way because I so often say that astrology is only half the picture, and the other half is we as co creators are weaving that energy into manifestation, which we absolutely are. But there's certain aspects of astrology which I think are more destined or fated. The nodal axis, I think, has that quality. The eclipses, and of course the eclipses, the lunations have to happen close to the nodal axis to form eclipses. But also I think what we're going to be looking at are fingers of fate, fingers of God, in this particular chart for the Cancer solstice. Remember that ancient peoples have celebrated, have had celebrations around these equinoxes and solstices for hundreds and thousands of years. Somehow they knew that the veil was thinner, and that literally meant the magnetic field, the magnetosphere around the Earth was thinner at these times, and so that they could access high-level information more easily. How did they know that? Well, I think they were way more sophisticated than we in our modern times are, but we are going to start to remember those kinds of abilities and gifts. So let us look at the chart for this Cancer solstice. So the Cancer solstice is defined by when the sun enters zero of Cancer, which we can see here. And beautifully, it is conjunct Jupiter, the planet of expansion. And Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer. I've done a whole video on Jupiter and Cancer. I'll put the link for that below so I don't have to cover that same ground. But it is a very happy place for Cancer for Jupiter to be. Very much about self-care, spending time with loved ones, family and other loved ones, and a real sense of nurturing. But it brings with it this great sense of expansion. And this is absolutely what we are into now. And Jupiter also brings with us a sense of understanding the interconnectedness of all things. And it brings in a sense of long distance travel. There's an interesting quincunx to Pluto, which I'll come back to in a minute. But this is really suggesting a much stronger galactic connection too, because Jupiter is about distant space, and Aquarius is very connected to the galactic beings, the foreigners, the outsiders, but actually they are our family, as we are going to, I think, increasingly discover. So, and this is also connected to our wisdom as well, our higher consciousness. So there's a sense of expanding our higher consciousness from this point on, particularly over the next 3 months. And I think that is absolutely spot on for the other energies. Sun and Jupiter are square to the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which all astrologers are talking about right now. I'll put the video I did for that below, so again, I won't have to cover that again. But this is really, I think, ultimately about our spiritual sovereignty, becoming your own spiritual leader, your own spiritual hero as well. And so in this sense of expanding consciousness, that sense of sovereignty plays a huge part. And that's going to grow stronger and stronger from this point on. And I think what we're really looking at, it's so exciting, is a sense of expanding cosmic consciousness and galactic consciousness. We're welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love. We're welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love. Well, this is the expanded consciousness, Sun, Jupiter, and they are actually semi-square to Venus. Love, Venus in its own sign of Taurus, beautiful. So that mantra of we're welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love will serve you very well if you can't think of anything better to celebrate in these times we are going through. And there's a sense of spiritual idealism at this time. Yes, Saturn, Neptune, but also a groundedness. Saturn is really helping us here because without that, Jupiter, Neptune can be a little bit big bubble, over idealistic, no limits. Saturn grounds it. What's practical? What's realistic? What's pragmatic? How can we plan for the long term? So it's actually incredibly helpful. Now, what is very interesting as well here is we have 4 planets, Saturn, Neptune, Sun, Jupiter, on the Aries point or the world axis. Those terms are interchangeable. The Aries point isn't just 0 of Aries, it actually applies to 0 of Cancer, 0 of Libra, 0 of Capricorn. And those are also the points of what is known as the world axis, where qualities or events are thrown into public prominence potentially. But how can we still be at war? How are we still killing each other? I mean, it just is so far away on a different timeline. And the more we can move to the timeline of love and joy and bliss and gratitude and all the things we talk about, the less war will be part of our reality. It will just go to black and white and then just fade away, which is actually exactly what's happening. But I think it is a very, very dynamic, event-packed, as I said, way back in January, chaotic at times year. And recognize that the chaos and the breakdown of the old has to be part of the picture. We have to see it, partly to say we're not doing that again, but partly to know that old energy is now gone. The most powerful thing you can do, I feel, is keep it simple. Drop into stillness. Close your eyes. Watch your breath. Fall in love with the breath. Imagine that your breath is not only being breathed in and out of your heart with love, but you are breathing love into every single cell of your body.
Fashion